It's funny the picture quality is better on this phone.
Good morning, good afternoon, or whatever time it may be where you are. This is the Experts About Nothing podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and we are back. We're one down, but he should be around. We'll see. Brant, man, how you living?
Hey man, we on the road. We're a little under the weather, but folks, we got 35 days to election day. Let's get to it.
Yes, yes, yes. Byron, man, how you surviving?
Hey man, just another day, of you bashing me.
Hey, man, they
You
ain't
know?
know nothing about that yet. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. If y'all see Byron freezing on the screen, he's having
Oh,
some technical difficulties. Now, let alone, I had technical difficulties prior to the show, but I think I worked those out. If y'all see me freezing on the screen, that's why as well.
get at him.
Y'all let me know. But I got a feeling that we'll see Byron mess up before I do.
Damn.
I ain't got no faith in you or your
I,
I
technology.
know
I
that's
ain't
tough,
never
bro.
had faith in the Apple device now, let me tell you.
I mean, I ain't mad at that, but
But the picture quality is better than a newer Google phone. Wow.
I mean, I don't know about if I say all that.
You said the
It's
picture
better than
quality
that than
was
the
better.
laptop you was on that has the potato camera and the bad processor and all that stuff.
I mean,
Yeah, but was it better than the
I'll have to
Google
review
phone
that
though?
now.
why the laptop catching strays though? That's
Because
tough.
that laptop is trash. You need to throw that thing away.
But the man didn't even mention the laptop. He was just like, you said the quality is better.
Well, but he was asking about the quality of the picture. And the reason why the quality of the picture is better is because he's not on that laptop. That's a play school laptop. It is not of any type of brand.
Yeah. You know that laptop won't even help me do my like I just do that to project. Like I don't even do
Oh,
that.
I
I don't even
know.
work on it.
That's tough.
I'm sure it cannot do that. It does not have the processor
Yeah.
power.
Dual screens, none of
Absolutely
that.
not.
Yeah. That's what I was doing it for dual screens and it barely does that.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sure it. Yeah. Anyway,
I need a real one, so
I recommend it.
well you're gonna have to find well just send me one to get because I want to make sure I get
I
the
just
right
you
one
gotta you gotta
so
let
I
me
can
know
work
what you're
on it.
trying to do on it, man. We can make something happen.
Just do dual screen, put like a have the fold screen I can
Uh,
put on top of it, have the two
so
screens on the side
you want to run three
so I
screen.
can work. Yeah, I mean you can just buy the adapter to put on it, so you can have this two screens on the side.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what you're talking about, but we'll talk about that off show. We're gonna get into this
Yeah.
show. If Brent looks a little distracted, he's watching the vice presidential debate on the side over there. He's looking at some of the tomfoolery that's going on with that, I'm sure, because well, it's just guaranteed.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why JD Vance's tie looked like he took some lady's underwear and made it a tie, but that's not my business.
Well,
I mean, if you could see the texture of the tie, you'd understand, but that's not the end of the matter.
oh man, that's tough. Well, like I said, I'm sure that's going on, but we're not gonna stream that tonight on the show because I don't think I can listen to too much of that. That's yeah. But anyway,
What's up? What's up, Grimmish? How you doing?
yo, welcome to the show. Um, so first, I guess we'll do our little NFL recap of our teams. Byron, you want to start this one off? We all took
Oh, that's
L's.
tough. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we took L's. We 2-2. We got bye week this week. To recap the Bucks game, I mean, it's what I expected. We had our two, some receivers down. So Lane Johnson, yes, we typically don't do good with him out. So I, I expected a more competitive game, but they got out on us early. So it is what it is.
Yeah. It looked like it was a tough game. the Jets. We had this wild game up in Denver. Shout out to my real Bronco associates and friends and whatnot. In particular, Kelvin, Gibbs, and Greg. Shout out to y'all. Y'all the only real Broncos fans I know.
That's pro boy. He ain't no all man boy. I'm still
Yeah,
on
you
that. 20
is.
years
Yeah, you
later.
is. But shout out to them, and like I said, the other associates on the back end that also may or may not be Broncos fans, but my boys that are. Shout out to y'all. Y'all beat us in a real tough game in the Mile High. Boy, we couldn't throw for nothing. We couldn't run for nothing. I don't know what we could do. We could kick for nothing. This is an all-around bad game for the Jets. So on to the next one. All right, Brent, bring it home.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. By the skin of their teeth. I don't. I mean, I don't know what you want from me. It wasn't a beautiful game. It was a win. We'll take a win, but uh I will say this: I will take some solace in the fact that the defense was able to. Now, granted, we was playing the Giants, so this ain't saying much, but we were able to actually stop a team from scoring on multiple drives consecutively. Daniel Jones them did not hit pay dirt, so everything they had was off the foot of a kicker. Um, other than that, there's a lot of work to be done, and right now, Byron and I are in a division where our teams are looking up at the Washington Commanders, and that's all I got to say on that.
What's that mascot's name again?
Which one?
The Commanders mascot.
Commander. What is that man's name? And it's something something Tubby.
Yeah, Sergeant Tubby. Something.
Tubby?
I don't remember his name, but yeah. Y'all here taking the L of that man. But shout out to Commanders.
Major Tutty. There you go. Let me get the man's
Major Tutty.
Major Tutty. There you go.
Hey, well, shout out to them and whatever they got going on. My poor Jets. I don't know what we got going on. Eagles, y'all got some things to get together, and the rest of the NFL got some things to get together too. But I bet y'all were celebrating like y'all won a Super. Well, not y'all, but the Cowboys were celebrating like they won a Super Bowl, beating the Giants, and that was entertaining because I'm like, bro.
Well, I think they all just happy they got a job this week because I'm pretty sure Mike Zimmer had another bad week. He gonna get fired. Mike McCarthy, he ain't got no contract after this season, so he definitely getting fired. They got 60 mil on Dak, but I mean, if they found the right package, they could, ain't like they couldn't move him. And there are teams that would be desperate enough to send some stuff for him. So, I mean, all things considered, but we still ran by Jerry Jones, and you know how I feel about Jerry, so it is what it is.
Speaking of putting the package together, did y'all see where the Raiders might be willing to ship out Devontae Adams for a second-round pick?
I seen that Mike Florio said, depending on how the record be, but yeah, I seen that.
Hey, I know some teams that got some second-round picks they'll be willing to give up. And my team being one of them, because
y'all got the cap space to absorb that, because his contract jumps up next year. Y'all got the space?
We'll find a way.
Don't
worry about it.
I mean, that was a
Adams, I'm
legit
finding a way.
Say what?
For Adams, I'm finding a way. He got about 3-4 more seasons left. Yeah.
We'll find a way. Absolutely.
He's trying to win the chip, man. Come to Philly.
Hey man, y'all do need some wide receivers. Y'all a little short right now. Yeah, that would be a good move for y'all. But I come on, Aaron Rodgers. Come on now. Come on home. Come on home over here to the Jets. We got something for you.
And just so y'all have the numbers, so this year's cap hit is 16.8. Next year is going to jump to 35.6, and then the year after is 35.6, and then 2027 he'll be unrestricted.
We got 50-11 receivers on team. We can cut some folks and make some things happen. All we need, we can make some things happen.
Well, Wes, you just won a reunion, but now I'm gonna be petty. No offense to the Jets. I mean, no disrespect to the Jets, but I mean all offense to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers reunions don't work out very well for the.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Look, the main receiver that he's been hitting for since he got back on the field is Lazard, bro.
I know.
He been lighting up Lazard left and right. I mean, Lazard. I was watching it. I'm like, man, He can't find nobody else. And mind you, Lazard last year was trash. He dropped every other pass, it seemed like. But since he got Aaron back in his life, hey man, them hands is out here. It seems.
Now I got to go do.
It's about the quarterback. The
I don't
quarterback mean a lot
disagree.
though. It's about how the ball coming out, how you reading the ball coming to you, the speed of it. You know what I mean? A, a lot of people, if they change quarterbacks and they used to one quarterback, they look a little off. It's like something with us with Jalen and we got Dawson. He's a good wide out, but he can't
And
find
I
them
feel
on the
like the
field.
same thing with Williams right now. But he's
Well,
starting working Williams more and more, but he wasn't ready to work with Williams. So he just going to safe spaces, which is Lazard. Like
yeah,
Garrett Wilson and him have no chemistry,
yeah,
it
that's
seems
true.
like. They are struggling.
Yeah, he don't know where to find them on the field, man. That's tough when you don't know the speed of the person. I mean, that's a lot. The quarterback got to know everybody rhythm. Like I know he gonna be on the hash
Yeah.
mark, when I throw it. I know he like to lean to the left to catch it. I know you know, I'm throwing a deep ball, throw to the back shoulder.
I mean, that's that
Stuff
you can
like
say
that.
that
I
because
don't
when you
know.
look at Tyreek, like Tyreek and Huntley, they ain't got nothing, bro. Like he misses him short, he misses him long. But for you to miss Tyreek Hill long, bro, you got to be throwing that thing. And like he just ain't got no chemistry with them, so they can't find each other either. Brent, you guys, what you want to say, Brent?
So I got a couple things real quick, Wes.
Okay.
Y'all want to give up a first and second round pick because y'all got cap room right now 16.8. You can fit the man on there, and you ain't got to do nothing but give up them draft picks.
Well, they just want a second round pick. I'm giving them the second round they want, and let's go.
Okay, all right, that's one. Two, to Byron's point, I
I'll
do
give them
think
a
you're right.
receiver too. Oh, go ahead.
I think the timing matters, and the timing matters too from the other end, right? So as a receiver, there's a point in which the play starts to break down. Sometimes what a quarterback likes to do. Like, okay, all right, it's been 3 seconds now. At this point, he done went through his reads, whatever the first, the second, and the third is. Now, what do I do to freelance to get myself open? Then you put with it, okay, Aaron, no, okay, Lazard like the ball right here. Lazard is looking because he's like, okay, Aaron is probably in trouble now. The ball ain't came out and I'm still looking at him. So I'm with Byron. I think it goes kind of both ways. The timing is a piece of it. The position where the ball is placed, it matters. And then understanding, okay, when the play breaks down, okay, I'm freelancing now. What can I do to help Aaron get this ball into play?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, yeah, Byron got a point. I'm telling you, when I was looking at the Dolphins, yeah, it was very apparent they got work to do, and I don't think they got time to do it, which I'm fine with because that puts them out in the AFC East. All I got to worry about is the Bills. So
Yeah, the Ravens took them down a peg this week, so you take that.
oh, absolutely. But that's our little NFL recap. Ain't much to it there. I mean, y'all got anything else that y'all saw from the NFL y'all want to talk about before we slide on? Because I mean, it was some other interesting things going on, but I'll let y'all talk about it if y'all want to.
Oh man, Jaden Daniels is looking pretty good. Jaden Daniels is looking pretty good. I will
But
add to
okay,
that. I feel like once they get a little bit more tape on him, he might not be able to explode like that, but we'll see. He look
you
pretty
took the
good.
question right from me, but I was going to ask you about the tape, but you hit it.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah, once they get he like to go right, left. This is what he like to do. This is what he gonna do on third. This is what he gonna do on fourth. Once they get that tape on you, you gonna have to switch it up a little bit. Can he adjust? Is the question.
I agree. Anybody, anything else you see that you liked or didn't like?
Hmm. I don't know. But everybody, I mean, you had some decent plays here and there. Nothing really stuck out
All
of
right,
the
but
norm though. Kansas City was
I
being
mean,
Kansas City.
what about Deshaun? What
Ravens been
about
the
Deshaun
Ravens.
Watson? What about Deshaun
Derrick Henry
Watson? How
been
y'all
there.
feeling about Deshaun Watson right now?
Garbage. Garbage.
I mean, it was pretty average.
Garbage.
I mean, because we've had
We got 250, 230
He
something
got a lot of money
guaranteed. Yeah,
guaranteed, but what they got to do with
you
his
gotta
play
play a
on the
little better.
field, bro?
Garbage.
Shoot.
Yeah. So he's looking pretty average to somebody who got the fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah, looking a little rough up there in Cleveland land. The people gonna have them bags on their heads again for long. I ain't got much to say about that because that's just tough. But yeah, but anyway, we'll slide on past that into our next topic and whatnot. Y'all boy Diddy still cutting up, man. They still got charges coming out the wazoo. They gonna bury him under the jail, make him part of the foundation and everything. Because he at this point in time, he definitely is worse than R. Kelly. I don't care what you say. Y'all want to cancel all the R. Kelly songs, y'all better cancel all the Diddy songs. Cause woo, it ain't looking good. I just saw a thing where they said something like I think 25 minors have or 25 then minors have popped up and uh saying stuff. So yeah. Oh, by the way, and these are male and female minors. Just put that out there for you.
Well, let's also not forget that we learned this week that not all of the oil inside the baby oil bottles was baby oil. So my man also had some retro throwback drugs he was giving people. So there's
Oh
that.
yeah. Well, it was mixed in there. You put it on, get it massage in there. I mean, it still was
Just
baby oil in there. It was just laced.
uh,
If you
well,
lace
yeah.
it,
I mean, yeah. Well, you need a what do they call it? Ah, a carrier oil. That's what they
carrier.
call
Yeah,
it. A
yeah,
carrier oil. Yes,
yeah.
I only know that because peppermint oil. I use peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is too strong to put apply by itself, but you put it with another little oil. It's called a carrier. So carrier oil.
I just know random things. I ain't got no other reason. I just know random stuff about random stuff. And
Mm.
yeah, he got a
He got
lot
too
of.
much going on, man.
Don't he,
That's too
bro?
much.
Oh,
That's a mastermind orgy type deal. Listen,
yeah,
I mean, that's
bro.
essentially what the man would have.
Byron, if you think about the fact this man was bringing lighting and IVs for recovery, and I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with that one video with his mama. What was she? That's a lot. That's a lot. There's a lot to unpack in that one video because it just seemed real weird. That particular video. It's something real snaky behind that one. Is all I can say about that. I don't know what's up with it, but his mom was out there. They hanging out there. She getting the IV, recovering from partying the previous night. I don't know what was going on there, or something. Brent, what you
I,
gonna say?
I mean, the parallels between him and R. Kelly are incredible because if you watch the stuff with R. Kelly, we come to find out that R. Kelly had this weird fixation with his mom. Like he would drink it out of the cup that she drank out of because it was like kissing her and all this. So
Oh,
Wes,
wow,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, when you compare it, right? Like now, I agree with you. Diddy's acts were more egregious in many ways because while R. Kelly is grooming the women and stuff, I mean, Diddy took it to a whole new level with the drugging and the forcing against their will. I mean, you know, say what you want. Robert was hoodwinking them, but he wasn't drugging them. He was grooming them, which is still awful. But I mean, they were sort of mentally just being led into it versus actually being drugged out of their mind. And now you got, these tapes on you that implicate you, and now you can use it as blackmail or get you to do more, freak off stuff. I mean, like it's a weird place to be. And then my man controls more careers because I mean, he actually is interfering with some of his artists that he's helping promote or whatever. Robert never really got any of his people out. I mean, Aaliyah was out, sure, but the rest of them people that he had in his harem, those people really weren't out on Front Street. Diddy got a lot of people that was out and about, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, he was using their careers to make them do those things. Now, I got a question for y'all. Serious question. Some people might be mad about this question. Byron, I want you to answer first, bro. Was Aaliyah industry pass around? Because when you look at all of the things in which she's linked to and all the photos in which she's in, you see her with Diddy, you see her with obviously see her with R. Kelly, and you see her with Jay, you see her with Dame. She, bro, talk to me.
Dang, Wes, you just went all in on that one.
I'm just
That's crazy.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
ask the question, bro.
if she was a dude, would you say that? Like, you know what I mean? Would a dude be a pass round? I mean, she was
Uh,
the it girl, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was the girl like girls wanted to be like. You know, Beyonce wanted to be like her at the time. You know what I
well,
mean?
what
Everybody
I'm
was.
but all your well, not saying it's about Jay or Dane Dash, but I mean, she was young, real young, in those in that one particular situation. Um, but she's moving around all these dudes, and at least we got two of them that have been linked to some what we say, some potentially heinous crimes. It would have fit better in with last week because I that was but anyway,
Yeah.
some heinous crimes. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me. I mean, was she, you know,
Well,
was it
she was the
almost like
it
she was
girl.
being trafficked in public?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I mean, I know she's a it girl, but bro, I mean, you know, just a thought. I could be wrong, so that's why I asked.
No. I would say that. I would just see like she was the it girl. She was you know what I'm saying. She was on top of her game, and all the dudes wanted her. I mean, that's just what it is. you know,
Okay.
everybody
Uh,
wanted the R&B chick back then. They wanted what I'm saying. She was the hottest chick in the game at the time.
uh,
It is what it is.
mm. Well, okay. This is Byron, I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. Wes, it's hard to answer this question because she was so young. Remember, when she passed away, she was only 22.
mhm.
So, when you think about it in that lens, without being able to ask her, okay, how much of this did you willingly do because you thought it would allow you to continue to be famous, to be on Front Street? Were you doing it because it's an image thing, like Byron said? Were you trying to be the it girl because that's what you were for a lot of people? Obviously, there's some level of mental manipulation as it pertains to Robert. So you don't know. I mean, Robert lays a foundation. I mean, anybody else could just come swooping in, right? So, like, if she's already compromised mentally and she's groomed towards older men with power, fame, success, you almost wonder if she's conditioned now to gravitate to that. So there's a question. I think we could answer the question better had she been able to live longer, become a full fledged adult, and see if her pattern of attachment to destructive men continue. Because then I would say you probably are onto something with that. But there's just something about the youthfulness of it that I don't want to blame her because in a lot of ways I feel like she's a victim.
I'm
But
not blaming her. I'm saying she is a victim. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's more the mental conditioning, and she just kind of was stuck, which is kind of sad in a lot of ways. You know, uh,
I, if she obviously she isn't, but if she was alive, I wonder what story she would have to tell. This is all the thing I'm asking. Like, what stories would she have to tell about the the black side of the industry? Because we see it on the white side industry. What type of pedophilia and things that they participate in, and all the acts that they do, and we're starting to see it on our side of the industry as well. I mean, so you know, she might be the key to really, if she was alive, to really busting it all open and putting it out there on Front Street.
yeah. The question becomes, and it's hard to say because she didn't get to live to see, but does she have the moment where it clicks? Because she could just, because there's two roads you could take, right? You could be the victim that gets out, right? You could do, even though it took a while, you could do a Cassie, right? Hey, this thing has happened to me. You start to tumble the house of cards. But on the flip side, you could also do a thing like a Mary J, where you because at this point Mary J had to know some of the stuff is happening, and Mary J's been very very quiet about her buddy Diddy. Like, she ain't really said nothing, which I mean, I get it, it's your friend, but sometimes silence is complacency. You're complicit. You're like, hey, I mean, I ain't gonna talk about my friend. And I mean, there are rumors and things that maybe Mary J was doing some things. I don't know, but I do think it is curious. So there's two paths Aaliyah could take if she was alive today. So I just wonder would she have the strength of character to come out and be like, hey, The industry out here dogging people, man. They was doing us dirty, and nobody protected us. Not our parents, not the label. They just was letting us just be treated like cattle. They was passing us around. Like that would be very powerful, especially coming from, like, as Byron described, for the time period, the it girl, right? Like that would be damning. And he can say what he wanted about Cassie. And I'm not saying Cassie's testimony is not also equally damning, but to be Aaliyah, to be that big, and to be like, yeah, these dudes were doing all these horrific things to us. And like as a kid, I didn't have a way of contextualizing or defending myself, and no one stood up. Like, it's heartbreaking. It's sad.
I mean, she was obviously getting to a point where she could be on her own. She didn't need anybody else to do anything for her. She had gotten
Right.
away from all of that, and she was becoming her own person. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's I don't know. It's just something I wanted to hit y'all with. I would have preferred to have all four of us talk about it, but Durante isn't here, so we fall a little short with the conversation on it. But I do think it is a interesting thought. Like you brought up Mary J. That's another one that we can discuss. I mean, no, I'm not saying this Mary's into anything, but Mary, you've been around a lot of smoke. I don't know if you've seen some fire, but you sure have been around a lot of smoke over the years. So we'll have to see what comes of that. I know that some people were like, well, 50 done killed all now that Diddy locked up, but I'm also told that the show is ending, so there's that too. I think if 50 didn't like Mary or something like that, that he would just not put on the show. So, but anyway, that's that. And then outside of that, nothing really else to say about the boy Diddy. But Byron, my next thing is actually for you as well to lead us off with. So, Lil Booz is back in the news again, and this time he's in the news because of his feelings about his daughter. So, to give y'all some information, Boozie's daughter is gay. And Boozy has come out to say this. He said that his daughter cannot come around his other daughters with her situation because he does not want them to contaminate his daughters. Byron, man, talk to me, big dog. As a father of daughters, how you? Oh, well, I guess I'll put this in there too. He said my granddaddy didn't allow that, my daddy didn't allow that, and I ain't allowing that either. That's the last part of that. But yeah, Byron, talk to me.
I feel like that's his kingdom. It's whatever he allowed is what he allowed. It's whatever he don't allow is what he don't allow. You can't tell another man how to run his spot. That's his kingdom.
I ain't telling another man how to run a spot, but how you feel about that situation though?
That's what I said. I mean,
That's not. That's
if
not.
that's what
That's
he's
not
standing,
racist.
if that's what he's standing on, that's what he's standing on.
Okay, let me ask the question in a lawyer way. Byron, you yourself, um, how do you feel about him stating that he believes that his daughter bringing her friend around, her girlfriend around, would contaminate his daughters? Your let's say in particular your mind, if one of your kids brought around, if they potentially was gay or whatever, they brought around their girlfriend or whatever, would you feel that way?
I feel like it would confuse a child. Depends
Yeah.
on what stages they are in their childhood. It will confuse them
Why you say that?
because kids are curious. They want to know.
So I
It could lead them.
mean,
It could lead them down another path. If I sold drugs and let's say my brother was a big time drug, I wouldn't even want my brother around them like that. If he was a big time pusher, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want them. Even though that's my brother, I wouldn't even want them around them like that.
my brother was a drug dealer. I ain't never sold drugs.
But kids though, would you have them
Not.
around kids?
I was a kid at the time. He was a way older than me. I ain't never tried to sell nothing. No drugs anyway.
Well, some kids are more curious than that though, Wes. Yeah, was you too young to know what was going on
I
though?
was very aware what was going on.
I don't know. So some people,
It's a lot of stuff, a lot of action moving in and out the house. A lot of
so,
stuff was going on.
some was you difference. I mean, some kids are influenced by their area, by their environment. Some kids are influenced by the people around them. So you got to know your kids. Like
My brother never sold drugs either, so
I,
there's
I
that too.
I'll,
And
I'll I'll read this one. Kelvin said West didn't need to sell. He was already rich. LOL.
oh Lord, I don't know nothing about that. I definitely wasn't. But no, my brother ain't never sold no drugs. I ain't never sold no drugs, and my brother definitely had some work he was pushing long time ago. So this is a long time ago. These crimes he's paid for, all these things. Let's be clear. It was a long time ago. We talking in the '90s.
but
So
if you know your kids, you just know your kids. That's how I look at it. Like if his kids are easily influenced or
all right,
they
let me
on this
ask you
type of
this:
path.
how many family events and things have you been to where the auntie done brought her friend that you may recognize may not just be her friend later on in life, but back then that was just her friend. You ain't got to be out here in these streets just out here openly with it, but you can bring people around. What?
A few cousins, a few cousins.
Well,
So how did that influence others? Talk to me now.
I don't. I wouldn't know. Like you know what I'm saying? They could be Sheldon. You know, so they could. You know, they could be hiding that. You know, they could be doing it and hiding. I don't know.
All right. Byron bouncing around. Brent, talk to me.
I just want I want to ask a question first to the both of you, and then I'm gonna give y'all an answer. How many kids does Boosie have?
2011,
He has 8. How many baby mothers does he have?
2011.
He has 6. Now, Byron, I want to ask you this question because and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this biblically because I feel
I
like
know where you're going. Talk to me, Brent.
I feel like if we're gonna talk about somebody influencing people, now it's okay for a sister friend to be with a man, but her daddy got 8 kids by 6 different women, but she can't be gay. Now, listen, I'm not saying one way or another, but we can't act like one wrong is better than another wrong, right? If she's in a committed relationship with a lady, okay, maybe that's not Boosie's thing. Okay, fine. But Boosie, you're not living the best life yourself. You're not setting the best example for your kids. You a man hoe. Listen, I'm a man. I understand the beauty of women. I appreciate women, but I'm also married to one woman. And you know who's gonna get all my attention? That one woman. Now, do other beautiful women exist? Yes, but they not my woman because I got more sense as a man. I have more control as a man. Now, Boosie got more money than I do. He got more fame than I do. So maybe that makes him different. I don't know. Here's the thing: you can't hold your kids to a standard that you yourself are not a holy. Boosie, is you gay? No, but you're a man hoe. And in some ways, she could be loyal to this lady friend that she got. They could be loyal to each other and she have a good relationship. And she's doing the thing that if she was with a man, we would say be okay. So Boosie, you standing on shaky ground, busy trying to judge people. Meanwhile, you're not living a perfect life. I don't get the dichotomy about being listen, and it doesn't matter what you believe religiously, right? You can't tell me that a gay person who is in a committed relationship is better than a philandering man or woman with the opposite sex. There's no world where that's going to jive. Now, if religiously that's not your thing, I understand that. But you can't get up on no high horse and you a hoe and call the girl, say the girl. And also, one other thing, your daughter is your other children's sibling. That is their sister. You are showing them that if they do something that is slightly off to you, you are willing to cast them aside to push them away from the family if what they do doesn't meet your requirements. But meanwhile, you are still an imperfect person. You mess up, but because you're the king, because you're the dad, you get to have carte blanche. Now, again, this girl is an adult, so I'm not taking up. I mean, I'm Byron. I'm with you about like if you still live under my roof and I'm still paying your bills and you're still a kid, that's different. I'm your until you grown and you do for yourself. You got to abide by my rules in the house. But the moment you're grown, it would be selfish of me as an adult to deprive my children a relationship with their sister or their brother because I didn't agree with some of their choices. Now, if she was doing drugs, That's an influenceable thing. So she's actually shooting up in front of them. That's influenceable. If if she's selling drugs, that creates danger and the risk of life to the children, their lives being taken, putting them at the risk of violence. That's a little different subject matter. There's nothing violent about her being in a relationship with a woman. Again, you don't have to agree with that. But two of these things deal with violence and harm to the child, where the child can gain access to drugs or be hurt by drugs and by proxy. The other thing is just who she happens to be in a romantic relationship with. And to me, to sit on some high horse like we're the king of something, that's crazy. But you know what? You sometimes you reap what you sow. Boosie always busy telling other people about their kids. And now look, trouble come in your own house. People live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks.
Hey man, I know
He
Boosie be
did bring it
having.
on himself.
I,
Two
I,
red balls kissing in the back seat. You
mind
said
you,
it.
mind you, he be having these naked pool parties, and I mean, hey man, they be
He
turning
said
up at
that
them
attract
things.
me. I like girls who like girls. That attract me. That's what he said.
Hmm.
hmm,
It's power in the tongue.
Ain't
right,
it though?
right.
And that ain't like I said. I know that the kids ain't there, but he having all these parties and stuff. He almost be on Instagram Live. Well, he used to be on Instagram Live, cutting up and acting the fool. You want your daughters acting like that?
Yeah.
I
I
got a
mean,
lot of questions, boss. Talk to me
I
about what you
mean,
about to say.
I can see where it could look kind of shady, but I think you live that life. Saying your kids are influenced, but they're gonna be more influenced by what things he did. Because I mean, as your dad, you look up to your dad like you're a hero until you figure out like all people make mistakes. So they more influenced by him than probably her, though. To
But
be
and
honest with
also, why can't you just have a conversation with the girl and be like, "Hey, yo, I don't necessarily agree with what you got going on, and you come over to Korea. I don't want y'all, touching on each other, all this extra stuff. You can bring your friend, whatever, but don't be doing nothing crazy in front of the kids. Boom, let it be that. Be a
you. But
father,
I,
have a
I mean,
conversation.
I ain't got no problem with that. Like, if if that's what he want, that's what he want. That's his. That's his kid. That's his family. Like you gotta understand, as a man, if if you set down law, that's law. Like, nah, don't bring it around the kids. You do your thing. Like, if he's saying you can still come around, but just don't bring your situation or whatever.
That's wild to me.
Well,
That's real wild
Uh-uh.
to me.
and Byron, I know what you're saying, but here's the piece that I think Boosie misses because he busy trying to lay down the law. There are times I think with children, particularly as they become adult children, where we think because we think we know right, and like you said, I don't know what happened to Wes. We think we're infallible. Oh, he's back. Okay. We think we're infallible. And all the while, like you said, like when we get old enough, we realize our parents are just like us. The thing they don't tell you about adulting is everybody is guessing. I don't care how successful you are, you just guessed right a lot. You educated yourself, you figured out some stuff, you hustled hard, but you're still guessing. All of us are just guessing our way through life. None of us have some master manual that we're pushing through. And so to me, Boosie is setting a table where he and his daughter are no longer going to have a relationship. But not only that, his daughter and her other siblings are now going to have a divide that didn't exist. And you know who is the principal enforcer of that? Boosie. And you know who's going to, when the kids get grown enough and they understand and they learn a little bit more, because even if she don't come around, they're going to remember my daddy threw my sister out as an outcast. Because I mean, that's essentially what it is. Now I'm with you, Byron. Like if I'm with Wes on this. Now if he told her, "Hey, like don't y'all be extra or nothing because we don't want to," that's a little different. I mean, for all the kids know, they could do the thing like Wes said the aunties used to do. This is my friend, right? They ain't kissing and doing all the extra stuff. Okay, ain't nobody's business. But sometimes we shun people so quickly we forget we're human too. And then when we fall from grace, what do we want people to do? Have pity on us, to love us, to forgive us, to love us through the thing. But it's easy to say that until it's us. And so Boosie, he had to double down because if he and I really think this is really what it is. It's not just because he wanted to be boss hog. It was he couldn't look, he would lose credibility if he had to have a come to Jesus moment and realize, oh shoot, I done ran my mouth so much that now these chickens don't come home to roost. And so he doubled down. But in that, he runs the risk of losing his daughter forever. And so the question I would ask you, Byron, is this, because you are a father. If your daughter was an adult and she called herself liking ladies, would you, no matter what you felt about it, would you risk throwing away the father-daughter relationship you have with your little girl? Because she's all to you, no matter how grown she gets, she always gonna be your baby. Are you willing to throw all that away because you don't agree with one of her choices? And let's say it's not an overly self-destructive, because that's a little different. Just that one choice, and you willing to throw her away, so you can't be with your sister no more, you can't come over here no more, none of that.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Cause she a whole adult. Like that's I mean, but that's how I run my things. Like I wouldn't care if you're an adult and you doing your own thing. Hey, that's you.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. Like I'm with you. Like if you still living in the house, I'm paying your bills. Okay, well yeah, I'm the king because you still live with
Yeah,
me. I'm taking care of you. But once you're grown, I give you a little platitude. I'll tell you what I feel about as a dad, because I do think, even as adults, sometimes we need a little guidance from our parents, right? But I'll just tell you how I feel about it. But I will still tell you, hey, you're still my kid. I love you. I don't always agree with your choices, but I always want what's best for you. And I do worry about the other kids. So let's be mindful of your sisters and your brothers. But I don't want you to feel like you're not loved, because and that's the thing I didn't hear in Bootsy say. To me, he didn't come off and say, "Oh, well, I love my daughter," and there was no softness. He doubled down on the hardness because he'd make him lose credibility. I think
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. But you don't know what's extra with that situation. Some could have came. You just never know. You just never know. That's I mean that's them. But it's like back in the day. Won't like from a dude's perspective. I don't know. I may have seen at a family function, but won't no dudes bringing other dudes like who was like I knew they was a little sugarish. They won't bring no dudes around. Like you know what I mean? They just won't doing it. I think it would just been out of bounds. You know what I mean? Like back in the day,
I
you
could
gotta
agree.
be honest, bro. Like no dude wasn't doing that. Like if he was doing that, he was out there. Like he was all the way.
I got you. Well, let me ask you one more question, Byron. And I'm curious about this piece of it, because I'm cognizant of the time we live in, right? So Bootsy's youngest child is 8, right? So I told you there's 8 of them, and the youngest is 8. We live in 2024, right? So let's say we keep the sister away. The child is going to grow up in a world where she sees gay people like her sister, where she sees people who have fluid gender identities, fluid sexual preference. So, like, the kids live in a time. I see what you're saying, but that was a time that we lived in back then. I'm not taking up for the time now, but what I am saying is we have more materials and more information, and kids are exposed to more today than I mean, we knew what being gay was back then to some extent, right? But we didn't understand all of the complexities and shades of it like we do now. And these kids are growing up in a time where they are aware of these different things. So even if Bootsy keeps the girl away from the siblings, unless they don't go on social media, unless they don't go to school, unless they don't have friends, unless they don't watch TV, they're gonna still see the stuff. The only difference is it's not their sister.
True.
I mean, so that's the other part. Is like, okay, Bootsy, but you're not putting the kids in a bubble. You're not.
I'll tell you, man. It's just it's that weird part of the extreme South way of thinking where you get stuck and you don't open your mind up to what's happening in the real world. He's stuck in a time period and he's not adjusting. This is my opinion. That's just that's what I think it is. Because at the end of the day, I think that in the '90s, it was still more of a taboo type thing. Um, but that's not the world that we're in now. Everything's out in the open. You have the ability to get information, you know. So it's different. We in a different world. You know what I'm saying? But the South, they're afraid of change. This is why you see, not to get political or anything like that, but that's why you see the divides and with the political atmosphere. That's why you got people are worried about transgender people or people that do drag, right? You got the people that they're worried about people doing drag uh infecting kids when they do shows and stuff. How why are you even talking about this? It's because they're afraid of stuff that doesn't even make sense. I don't know if I'm articulating that well, but that's what I think is going on. With the further south you go, the crazier it gets. I'm finding that Virginia is really not part of the South. Like we are South hybrid at best, bro. We are different.
Are you telling me? Are you? Yeah,
It's the
Wes.
Middle
Are you
East.
telling me we are the Florida of the Mid Atlantic?
What does that mean?
Well, because Florida's in the South, but Florida ain't really in the South. Like once you get past that top part of Florida, that ain't the South no more. Like Miami, Orlando, that ain't the South South. That's different.
Oh well, okay. I think that Florida's bigger than it should be, and that you got different parts because part of Florida is very, very, very south. Like
Yeah,
you got some
that's
rednecks there. Woo.
that's the part that ain't got no real civilization. The moment you get to things that tourists go to, it's no longer that. I mean, I'm just here to tell you
Okay.
as a person. I mean, Byron, you've been to Florida now, Byron. The top of Florida is kind of like what he West is talking about. Them more rural places, but like once you get down the coast, Florida different. It ain't. I can't describe it. It ain't the South.
Well, if you say that, then yeah, I think that while some of Virginia is obviously very southern, obviously is it's where the Civil War ended. Um, but so it's a lot of Confederate pride in certain places, but we different as a state in general. We are way more open and stuff. And I'll let you read Greg's
I got you.
comment that you
So
have to read somewhere else because it gets cut off.
I got y'all. So it says,
Okay.
Big Red said, I have two heterosexual sons that are married to two beautiful women, and I love my daughter-in-laws. I love my sons with all that I am. But if one of them were gay, I wouldn't agree with that lifestyle, but I wouldn't love that son any less, nor would I turn them against one another because of this. But in my house, this behavior would not be tolerated. There wouldn't be any sleepovers or any overt sexual behavior displayed. Visits, yes, but respect me, my home, and my beliefs. And that's all I'm
That's
saying.
fine. That's
That's
good.
fine.
That's
Yeah.
open. That's good.
That's good. Right. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. I'm not saying you have to co-sign. I'm not saying you have to support it because everybody has their own beliefs about it, whether it be religious or otherwise. But to me, to just shun a person, it's mind-boggling to me. They are your child. This is a part of you. You helped raise them, you fed them, you clothed them, you took care of them. This is an extension of you. And to cast them away like that is just beyond, for me. So I'm with Greg. Like, even if I didn't agree with all pieces of it, I want my child to know, and any family member, don't even have to be my kid. I love you. And even if it's not the choice I would make for you, I want you to know you are fully loved the same way I loved you before I found out whatever your choice is, because that's what we need. We have enough division and hate in the world. We don't need to put more of it out. Right? That's the end of it.
Mhm.
Again, your house, your rules, and I'm with that. Like if Boosie wants to set rules inside his house, I'm cool with that. But not keeping the kids from each other and stuff. That's too much. That's excessive.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah. What Greg said is exactly I think what we were trying to articulate and say. You got your rules, you got your house, but at the end of the day, hey, don't do that. But hey, man, I accept you. I love you. Come through.
Right.
Don't be out here cutting up like that. If you want to call it cutting up like that.
Right.
But yeah, also got it up on the screen if anybody don't want to read that. I'm still working on my production skills with the program, by the way, as y'all see. But we making it happen. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I just think that some of the South is just so afraid that it gets to be outrageous at a certain point. You're taking the books, you're banning stuff that doesn't need to be banned. First of all, half of y'all don't read books. Let's just get into that. Your education level is trash. Okay, I'll just put it out there. In a lot of these places, the education levels is trash. The further south you go, no offense, but it's not great. So you banning books that people ain't touched in years. Them books got dust on it. I don't even understand. You know what I mean? I read books like that. I don't even
Well,
like. And by the way, this comes from a person that don't like to read books. By the
well,
way,
but West, At the end of the day, it's a form of control.
Yeah,
It allows the people in power, be it a school board, be it whatever, to
entire state government.
to exercise what they believe is power. And I'm gonna just say this: we try not to get political, but I'm gonna go there because it is, a lot of times these people that exercise this power about banning books, these are the same people that say allegedly we need less government. Well, we need less government while you banning books.
That's a fact, bro.
Why you banning books? A book requires a person to pick it up and to flip through it. That requires action of multiple levels. I mean, you got to get to the book, you got to pick the book up, you got to open the book, you got to read the book, and then you also have to be able to understand what it is that you read. There's so many steps between you and the book that if you manage to accomplish all them steps to get to the book, you probably deserve to read the book. Now, I don't know if you will understand what's in the book, but like we're making a whole bunch of fuss about the in between. But I always say that and ladies and gentlemen, go home and do your own homework. You'll notice things that they want to use as things to pit us against each other are things that really don't change a lot unless they do something crazy like, oh, I don't know, pack a Supreme Court, but that's not my business. Typically, though, things like the Second Amendment, it's going to take a whole lot of weird stuff to happen for us to get rid of it. But people always rah about the Second Amendment. I'm like, but we haven't had like comprehensive gun law changes since the 90s. Like we've had some small little stuff here and there, but we haven't had comprehensive gun law. But every election cycle, it's the guns. It's the guns. You yell about the guns, but guess what, baby? They ain't took y'all guns yet. Y'all still got guns, and you're still mowing each other down in America like you ain't got good sense. But that's not my business. Okay, abortion. I want to talk about this just real quick. Abortion. This is a statistic that no one says, and I hate that the Democrats don't bring this up. And I'm not trying to be pro-Democrat. I'm trying to be pro-common sense. Prior to the reversal of Roe v. Wade, abortions had reached the lowest level in this country since abortion was legal. Why? Because they had counseling services. They were allowing children to be placed for adoption. They were providing condoms and contraceptives and things like that. So we were reducing the amount of people that even needed an abortion, that needed to even consider it. But because crazy people want to talk about it, they drummed it up like we're just out here murdering innocent children. And listen, you can feel whatever way you want to feel about abortion. I mean, I know it's a hot topic for a lot of people. What I'm trying to tell you is they use the things that they think can pull your strings to make you mad and pit you against each other. We didn't have that problem because the education piece was taking care of it. But because somebody packed the Supreme Court and because somebody told a lie that the states wanted to, no, they lied to you because it's a form of control. And the more control you give them, the more power they have. And eventually you're going to give them so much control because we're so lazy and we won't do our own homework that eventually we won't have any more rights.
You know what's crazy when you say that, when you think about that? When you think about all the things that they want to essentially control, they are taking your ability to choose anything. You, as a human being on this earth, outside of being an American, but as a human being on this earth, you should be able to make choices in your life. If you want people to be able to freely, okay, let's go back to the gun thing. If you want people to be able to freely buy any gun they want, that's a choice. But you won't let a woman choose to do what she want to do with her body. You won't let a person go be able to check out a book and read it because you want this banned for this reason. It's wild that you give people some choices, but you won't give them others. Ain't that though?
Oh, it's beyond wild. And the crazy part about it is they would feel some type of way if the things that they enjoy were taken from them. That's why they yell so loudly into the void, because it's all fun and games. I mean, I'm gonna pick on Boosie again because it's previous time. It's all fun and games until them chickens come home to roost. It's all fun and games until. And listen, I'm not saying that we should just have no limits on things. I understand everything has to be within reason, but sometimes we upset the apple cart when we don't have to, and they manipulate us into being against. It's the same thing with burning the flag. I don't believe in burning the flag, but you know what? When they get good and well and ready, they start showing people burning the flag. Why? Because they know it creates a visceral reaction in people. There are people that are pro burning the flag and against burning the flag. But what does it do? It pits us against each other. It's another form of control where they can manipulate us to seeing each other as enemies.
You know, so you talk about that flag. There's a lot of rules to the flag and a lot of things that you're not supposed to do to the flag. but yet I see the flag misrepresented. I see people's faces being put on the flag. It's a lot of people's names being put over top of the flag, and I'm pretty sure that's against all the flag rules. So you offended by this, but you're not offended by that. It's kind of crazy. I'm trying to tell you, people are
Don't
very selective.
don't forget that the flag is wrapping in the Bible now too. So it's, I mean, they won't even. Now, I'm gonna be petty here as a Christian. They won't even respect the sanctity of God's word and just let it be. We got to Americanize everything. And listen, I'm an American. I love my country. I
I
want my
ain't
country.
never.
I want my country to continue to exist. I want all of us to be as free as we can be, and I want us to live in a peaceful and prosperous nation. You know what I don't want? I don't want nobody co-opting religion and wrapping my flag in it. No, that's not, because my flag represents all of us, the American family. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to pray to the God I pray to, or pray to a God if that's your business. I just want us to be free to continue to pursue whatever it is we want to pursue, as long as we're not harming each other in the process. Be free.
You
Be free.
know, you talk about the flag and you talk about the Bible and religion. They are weaponizing your religion against you, and some people don't even see it. You got a man that does can't tell you 5 words out of the Bible. Definitely can't tell you any sections of the Bible, but you let him be your religious, oh, just about your religious leader, and 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 I'll leave that alone.
No,
But
no, no. We got 35 days. Hit it. Listen, the kid gloves coming off. Ladies and gentlemen, we love to have y'all as viewers, but we can't keep playing games with y'all. Real stuff is at stake right now. And you can feel whatever way you want to feel about it. They are taking, and my man was talking about they eating the pets. No, 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 no. If I'm gonna say this, we know that this man is not smart enough. We know this because the first term, he's not smart enough to run the government by himself, to execute the office of president by himself. So what does that mean? That means he has a team. Well, those team of people, I don't know why they came up with this project 2025. Those team of people, they want to fundamentally alter the way your government works. They are talking about putting people in forced drafts if you're middle class or lower. So that means, if we have kids, because I mean, I'm not rich, and I mean, I'd like to say I'm well enough to take care of myself, but at some point, if I have kids, the way they want to do it, if my kids aren't highfalutin and go to private schools, they're going to be able to put them in the military and make mandatory military service. They want us, because we're not the elite, to shoulder the burden of running the country, taking, being on the armed forces, so that they can sit in their high castles and live law. They are basically turning us into a slave class of people. And if we are not careful, if we are not smart, if we are not deliberate, they will do just that. And we won't even know it, because it'll be happening bit by bit, until one day we'll look around and we'll be like, bro, this is some sort of weird prison that we're stuck in.
yeah, he wants you to think that he's your pariah. He is your rejected person. He's down here with you and doing all these things with you. It's very interesting how the manipulation works, and it is working very well, in my opinion, for some people. Now, I think that those that can see past it are going to, do what they do. And once again, I don't want to tell you to vote for. I just want you to tell you, look at what's going on. Look at what's going on. Don't choose your party lines. Your party lines don't mean anything. It's a concept. Look at the people. And don't do this. Don't use the memes. Don't use the stuff that you just see. Go look. Let's go dig into it. You see what you see. I mean, Byron he feels a certain type of way about a lot of things. He definitely feels like you should educate your kids at home. But Byron, I mean, what do you think about the stuff we're talking about with the choices and things? We hear from you about 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
I mean, I've been just listening. I mean, you already know how I feel about it. I always feel like anything they do with the schools, you should always, teach your kids at home. I feel like that's the best, best teaching you can do. I mean, as parents, you got to take advantage of teaching them yourself. You know, I
But
mean, I just feel like the teachers now are just paid babysitters. That's it. They there's no way they can reach all the kids.
well,
You have the kid
okay, go
has
ahead.
to touch a subject before they touch it at school in some shape or fashion. They have to touch the subject. Like if you talking about history, of course, I think they should know their history before they get taught in the school. They know a form of it. Math, it shouldn't be their first time knowing A, B, C. That's the first time hearing it in school. And a lot of kids, that's the first time they been taught.
But that's a fair young. That is a fair young parent, probably. But let me ask you this.
Okay, so then you got a lot of parents who they want to do it, but if they're working 60 hours, or mom working 60 hours, I mean,
But
they trying to provide.
both my parents work, and they got it done. But let me ask you this. Because I know you say this a lot, and I always disagree with you. And I got a question. So, are you teaching your children trigonometry? Is that what you're doing?
No, not trig. I was no good at trig, but
This is I
I was
actually
no
I
good.
asked you that intentionally. So you need the teachers. They need to be there to educate students on certain things. Some people say trig is an unnecessary math, but it is actually useful and
I
can be
don't go
useful.
that high though. I feel like that's some specialty stuff. I was like, anything you're gonna use like that, you pretty much can use a calculator.
Okay, but everybody's required to take algebra, and you're not teaching them algebra either, right? Because algebra is
Yeah,
required to even graduate high school.
they my 10-year old can do algebra,
But did you teach it though?
some sort. Yeah, something like fractions and how to break the it down a little bit. So they learned that from me and they
Okay, but
mom.
I mean, they teach you fractions in like third grade, something like that. Because they give you the little block things, and you put it together, and you do your fractions and stuff like that. But
But
that
the brackets, you got the fractions, you got the brackets, how to break it down, how to read, please excuse my dear on salad and all that good stuff.
hmm now see that's good now because that don't come into play until ooh, I want to say sixth grade,
Yeah.
something like that, sixth or seventh grade, somewhere in there. So that's good. But so you're teaching them the intricacies of algebra, though. I'm curious about that because I mean, within that you do have a bunch of different things. So you think that the teachers are not needed? That's what I'm curious about. Because I do feel like teachers are very valuable, and they definitely are not just paid babysitters. Some parents do treat them as paid babysitters, but
Some,
I
a lot was a
think
lot.
that there should be work that's done. But I think one or the other needs to lay the foundation. You can choose how it's laid, but there should be stuff that's jumped off of it if you want to look at it that way. But they should not just be paid babysitters. I think teachers are underpaid in the work that they do, and the fact
For
that
sure.
sometimes they do have to be babysitters. But the education that they provide children when they can't get it anywhere else is invaluable and is definitely needed. And I think all the teachers I've enjoyed all the teachers that I had just about, other than maybe Spanish, no French, sorry. Other than French, Spanish was cool. Enjoyed all my teachers. I got something from all of them. I had favorites over the years, but like they do help mold you and get you where you need to be educationally. And if you take to value it, you get a lot out of it. If you put that value in your kids, they'll get more out of it as well because they'll go there wanting to learn instead of seeing it as a task in which they have to do. And I think that that's where the foundation should be laid at home. Make your
Yeah.
kids want to learn because there's a difference. Like you got kids that go to school just to see friends and cut up and don't have a desire to know more. And I think that that's where you are losing. But I don't know. Brand, talk to me.
I mean, I think it's a good balance between the two. I see what Byron is saying. I will say this to me, from my experience, teachers filled the gaps that my mom and my home structure, like my dad, my grandparents, that they couldn't fill. Right. Like, so my mom always told me that she wanted me to go to school, get a good education. Right. And early on, my mom could do the homework with me. She could. But then it came a point where the homework became more advanced than she could handle. Right. My mom is not an avid reader. My mom reads. She mostly reads her Bible and her Sunday school lesson. In occasion, she reads Facebook. She loves Facebook. Um, so if you're watching, mom, shout out to you. But my mom has never been a big reader of books. My grandma was a minister. She read the Bible. She read other things, but my grandma was never a real big reader of books. I enjoy books, and not just like books for fun. I do enjoy those, but I also enjoy reading to learn. I like to learn. It is a thing that I enjoy. Um, my mom encouraged me to get a good education, and she did what she could. And then the teachers took that and expounded upon it. My mom is not a history person. I love history. I enjoy the knowing how the story unravels because it tells how we got here. Now, sometimes it didn't talk perfectly. So, to Byron's point, we need to do a better job at home telling our people about their own history and that sort of thing. But I do think that the teachers, if they come in with and I will say this for all the teachers I had, and I grew up in rural Virginia, I never really felt like my teachers had inherent biases. I had one teacher when we did world history and we talked through religions. She told us that she was a Christian and she made it very apparent. She said, listen, when we get to this subject, I may be a slightly biased. I'm going to try not to be. I'm going to try to teach it as unbiased as I can. But I'm going to be a little biased because it is the religion that I participate in. That is my belief system. But she did not belittle Islam. She did not belittle Hinduism. She did not belittle Buddhism. She just tried to teach it to us so we could learn about different cultures. Now, if you get good teachers, I think that they can work in tandem with a good parent because there's gonna come a point. I don't care unless you are a teacher. I don't care how brilliant you are. You're gonna come up short in some of those subjects. Now, to Byron's point, you need to be doing your work at home. But if you encourage your kids the right way, whatever natural curiosity piques them, whether they are a science person, a history person, a English or literary person, they'll find the thing that brings them joy, right? And then that becomes something that for the rest of their life they will do. It doesn't matter how old they get, if it's a skill that they can still function through even in old age, they will do. So, like, while it's been a little bit since I had time to sit down and read a whole book, I still read a lot. And when I want to know something, I go and research it and read. Um, it's a lifelong thing for me. So I think we could do better jobs as parents at home. We do, as Byron said, we do need to take initiative and teach them. And so I think, to Byron's point, I think Byron is encouraging the kids. He's teaching them some of the aspects, and then he's letting the school fill in the rest. So he's like, okay, here are the fundamentals. And then he's letting his kids kind of figure out what they like. And then they go to school. And if the teacher's a good teacher and she can engage them enough, he or she, then the kids will find the things they're passionate about and they'll run with it. Right. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
Yeah.
that's the balance.
I
I
love that.
just feel like you got to lay down a little base. That's
Right.
that's it. Like, I'm not saying I'm out here teaching them like 10 hours a day. No, I ain't say that. I just feel like at home it should be where they hear it from first. That
I mean,
I just feel like they should have a base.
I like that. I like that you teach them order operations because I definitely never got that. That was definitely introduced to me in school. But it's good that you are doing that. That's awesome, actually. But your a lot of your life skills should come from your home. Your life
But that's
skills
the
should come.
part, Wes. That's a good point. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to diss the teachers or nothing like that. And that's where
Yeah, I'm trying
they
to help you out.
are like, so that's why they on that babysitting it. And that's why I said what I said, because a lot of life skills is missing from the crib. So the teacher gotta get that up to par before they can get to teach.
I'm doing my best, brand tonight. I'm trying to help you out here.
Uh, well, no, I mean,
No,
I see what Byron's saying because
I see
okay,
exactly what you said.
I,
That's why I said.
no, he's right because okay, now again, parents, I'm talking to y'all right now. If you can't make your kid mind at home, and you are the parent, what hope does the teacher have? They don't have the ability to enforce punishment at home. They can't take their PlayStation, their Xbox. So you have to. That's what Byron's saying. Like, by the time the teacher gets Rowdy Roddy to sit down and Crazy Susie to stop yelling, the half the day is gone and she ain't even been able to get into the lesson because the chapter's been
Yeah.
acting crazy. So if you teach your kids a little discipline at home, even if you can't teach them all of the math, all of the, like Byron said, lay that foundation, lay the base. Hey, an adult is talking to you, you listen. If you have a question, you be polite, wait your turn, raise your hand, ask your question. Like these are simple things, but again, and I say this, I've been saying this last couple weeks, we live in a day and age where we want things instantly done and no one is willing to put in the work. I think that's the other part. Like some of us do the work, right? Some of us, like Byron, I think from what I gather from interacting with your kids a little bit and seeing you, I think you try to put in the work so that they feel like well-rounded individuals. As they grow up, they'll become good adults. But there are other people that they don't like. Their kid be in the store tearing up the store. Listen, ma'am, get your chap. I ain't gonna even call it a kid. Get your chap because and my grandma used to say this to me all the time. I'm sorry for people who this might be a trigger to you. I don't mean it this way, and I'm not casting asparagus on police officers because my sister's father-in-law is a police officer, and he was a good one at that, even though now he's retired. My grandma used to tell me all the time when they would be teaching us discipline. Like if I had to get a, some of y'all might call it a spanking, we call it a whipping, but I wasn't physical abuse. They were just physically disciplining me. She would say to me, I'm doing this so that when you grow up, you don't do anything stupid and the man has to beat you because I love you. So if I'm hitting you, I'm correcting you. If you act up and grow up and be crazy, the cops are gonna hit you with a nightstick and they may not love you because they're not your mom and they're not your daddy. So she wasn't casting aspersions on the police. She said, I'm trying to train you now for a world that is very rugged, very hard, very harsh. I'm giving you discipline because you're going to need that in order to survive and possibly, hopefully, thrive in the real world. So, as a kid, did I like getting physical discipline? Nah. But like in retrospect, hindsight, most of those I deserve. And I think it made me a better, more well-rounded person. But again, that started at home. So I had discipline at home. Now, my mom would argue, my report card would co-sign this. When I went to school, I did learn, but I also enjoyed the company of others. And I'm on a podcast, so y'all know I like to talk. So I did have some self-control issues with talking to others because, of course, these people don't live with me. So these are new people to talk to. There's different subjects to talk about. So I did struggle with that a little bit. But all in all, I wasn't a bad kid. The teachers told me to do something. I would try to listen to it. I enjoyed the company of others. So sometimes that would get me a little into trouble, but otherwise, it was fine. I think that's what Byron's getting at. Like you let your kids just be wild at home. They're gonna be wild at school. And now Byron, I'm gonna pick on Byron's kids now Byron's kids who are well disciplined and well trained, they're suffering because you and me didn't raise our kids right. Now they tearing up the classroom. Now Byron's kids can't learn all the stuff they could have learned.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't. I didn't get no whoop. I didn't really get whoops as a kid. I was just very observant, and I didn't have those problems.
You were a full-grown man at 4.
I don't know about all that, but I was just observant, and so hey, no, I don't
Wesley
need to do
Freeman.
all. I don't need to do all that, and I was very mindful of when there was a time to play and when there was a time to do work, and so in school when the when the teacher's teaching, I'm in there. Once we hit that playground though, baby, oh, it's fun times. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about what you do and how you see it. Like I said, my brother was a different person. He had to get a little switch time. He had to get a little paddle time. He got into some things. But I was observant and I stayed out of that type of trouble. So I do definitely think that I think part of it is that people are not adapting to the change of the world, because back in the day, yeah, the schools could correct your children with a little whooping, with a ruler, with a little something something. Matter of fact, you might get in trouble 3-4 times from the stories I've heard. You get in trouble at school, you get in trouble by the neighborhood mom, and then when you get home, your mama and your daddy might get you. So you might get it about 3-4 times, depending on, when you get home. But we don't live in that age anymore. And some of the parents need to adapt because things started changing with the parents of the kids in the 80s and 90s, probably more particularly in the 90s. The things started changing to where, you got people that can call them people on you and people showing up to your door asking you questions and things. And sometimes I don't think all of the parenting, particularly in the South, has necessarily adjusted with that. You know,
Mm. Well, and
so them
I'll say,
kids go to school and they cut up.
and I'll say this, Wes. I think it matters too, and this is why I go back to the thing with Boosie. I think love should be the first thing. Like as a kid, did I want to get disciplined? No, but like I said, as an adult, I think back on like at the time, I knew I did the wrong, right? I mean, Wes, you said you were, I was observant. But that didn't stop me from my judgment from not being as strong as it could have been. I understood that there were repercussions, but sometimes you just hope that this time it would be different, that you could get away with the thing. I learned that you couldn't get away with things, that, if the evidence was there, you're going to get caught.
You
So that
get
was a
burned
hard.
by a fire. You get burned by that stove one time. Don't go back.
Oh, I know, but Wes, that's different. A stove is one situation. There's there's other layers and things that you could do that sometimes you might not get disciplined for. But I say this to say, my mom, like when they would my mom, I give her this now. I didn't always agree with it. And my sister got a little bit different. So I think they started getting lazy. That's why I said we started getting complacent. We started getting lazy. My mom wouldn't beat me or nothing like that. I would get whooping. Somebody asked a question, I think from Reddit. Did we get whoopings? Yes, I got a
Oh
whooping.
no, I did that.
Oh, you did? Oh yeah, I got whoopings as a kid. So yes, I got whoopings. Okay. I would just tell you this. For me, my mom would tell me, my grandma would tell me that they loved me. Like, so sometimes you didn't feel it at the moment, but I never felt that my mom was disciplining me in a way where she hated me, where she would make, because like at the time, I didn't, but later on, I mean, my mom was still taking care of me. She was still loving on me. She was still putting food on the table. She would like, and even after I might get disciplined for the first few minutes, she may not say a whole lot of nice things to me right then, but my mom never really, she never called me out of my name. She never struck me like we were fighting, like it was a controlled level of discipline. I'm not saying beat your kids. We do need to adapt to some extent. I'm with that, West, to some extent. We got some people that beat their kids too much, but we got other people who are not finding a way to teach discipline, and therefore those kids are able to be disrupted, whether in a store, whether. So, West, the problem is, as observant as you were, we have way less observant children now in some instances, and they act bad. And what happens is they act bad, and no one ever sets them down and says, hey, this is why this is wrong. I mean, sometimes after getting disciplined, I would get explained. Now, I never got to really tell my side of the story, so it's sort of like a one-sided court, but I would get explained to why. So, like, say, for example, I'll give you an example. Say I went way over to my great aunt's house where they couldn't see me, right? After I got disciplined, my mom would sit me down and she would say to me, I'm not whooping you because you went over to your aunt's house. I'm whooping you because you didn't ask. We didn't know where you were. We live in the country. You could have been down at the road. Something could have hit you. We live in the country. A bear or something could have got you in the woods. You could have get bit by a snake because we got snakes that be down in this ravine. So she was trying to tell me, hey, you need this pain because you just thinking about, oh, I'm gonna go over here and hang out with my cousins and have fun. And that would have been fine, but you didn't do the right thing. You didn't come and ask me. So I knew where you were. So she was teaching me, sometimes you do things and you don't let people know, you do things the wrong way. There are repercussions and they can be painful. Um, Again, a lot of times I would get the explanation after the fact. Now, I didn't get to share my side about what my logic was and why I did what I did. And I do wish I had that. So one of the things I plan on doing if I ever am blessed with kids is, if we get to a point where I got a discipline, I would love to hear your logic, and then we can talk about what was wrong with your logic, so you understand as a child, and especially once you get to a certain age, because then you can kind of put the pieces together why that was wrong. And I did get that from my mom, so I think it helped me. Now I'm gonna say this: my sister might be watching. My sister could have got a few more of them things, but I love her. It's all good.
Mm.
So what's interesting? I'll say this. I think that there's a different type of love depending on what era you grew up in. they're like, so my father was a much older gentleman. He was born in 1943. Okay, so I never once, ever in my life ever heard my dad say he loved me. There's never a statement he made, but he showed it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? By putting in the work. So there is um there's verbal, and then there's physical by way of showing. You know what I'm saying? Like you but I think that there is a lack of, and this is gonna sound bad, but I think there's a lack of mental development that's coming these days with how people communicate, because we are in a more of a communicative. I don't know, that's probably not the right word, but we're in a society where we talk more now. We've changed from that type of display.
No,
You don't think so?
no, that's false.
Uh,
Talk more? No, I think we talk less.
No, I
You
said
know,
we. I said we need to talk more.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
that's
I'm saying
true.
that we need to evolve
Oh
to
yeah,
talk more.
yeah, yeah. We need to, but the kids now they're growing up with a screen. Like somebody telling them stuff on the screen. Like they're trying to interpret feelings off a screen, so it can be taken
That's
wrong. Say they don't know tone, they don't know anything like
that's why you need
cues
to
and
talk
stuff
more.
like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I heard
You,
you wrong though.
you need to talk more to to get more to your children. I think because they have access to so much more that I think communication is needed to set the proper tones and things like that. Because you can put out empty words and they mean nothing, but you need to actually have real communication. That's just my opinion. Obviously, this whole show is our opinion, by the way. We experts about nothing, which is
Yeah,
literally the case.
yeah,
And I'll say this to your point, Wes. So I normally get the statement about the love as a part of the discipline piece.
Hmm.
My mom was not an over. Now I don't mean to say like this. I knew I was loved, and me and my mom have talked about this. So if she hears it, it's not gonna be news to her. But I have noticed now that we are older, my mom is more open with her affection verbally. So she'll tell us that she loves us. We tell her that we love her. Her sisters, like growing up, and this is we grew up in a Christian family. Again, my grandma was a preacher. They never really were real verbal with each other about the love. Like you knew it was there, you could see it, you could feel it, but they weren't really. Now and after some losses, which some is sad that it takes some of, they now are more verbal with their communication of love, in addition to the still showing it, the still feeling it. But now you express it verbally. And my mom, she was talking to me the other week, and I'll try not to get too far in the weeds because I won't tell everybody's business. But she was talking to me about a situation with some other family members who may or may not be saying, comfortable fully saying it. And I told my mom, like, well, based on age and stuff, this person lived with y'all being like that longer than the rest of us. So for them, it's an adjustment period because they grew up and y'all weren't telling each other y'all. I mean, you loved each other. It was clear, but y'all weren't telling each other that you loved
Yeah,
each other.
that's what I was saying earlier about my dad. It just wasn't a thing.
So, and so I told my mom, I said, well,
uh,
we need to give that person a little grace because for them, this is new. I said, for us, we've been at it. And somebody asked my mom, do me and my sister tell my mom that we love her and vice versa? And she said, yeah. And that person sent a message to me to tell me that she loved me. And I said, well, tell her I love her too. But we weren't always there. And I think that's a part of growing. Some of it, like you said, that hardness of the past is softening a little bit, which is good. But we got to do a better job of communicating now, like to Byron's point, where we don't let the screens be the only thing that our kids feel and see. They need to know, hey, your mom and your daddy, we love you, we care
yeah,
about you, we want the best for you. I know it don't always feel like that. I know you think we always fussing at you and trying to get on you. But we want you to be good, well-rounded people. We want you to grow up and be successful. I want you to be better than I am. I think I'm okay. I'm not the best. I want you to be better than me. And that's my goal. If I can make you better than me, I've succeeded. Whatever you do, whatever success you find, if your life is better and more enjoyable than the one that I've got, I've succeeded as a father. I have put you in a position to be better. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. All right, y'all. We gave y'all a little TED Talk conversation for tonight. Y'all enjoy the conversation and whatnot, but we gonna get on up out of here. Brent, man, what you want to tell the people?
Hey man, see something, say something. We got 35 days to go, folks. Get registered. Some states we're getting close to the deadlines for registration. So if you haven't already, check out Wes's hat with the QR code vote.org. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to vote.org. You can find out your registration status. If you haven't registered and registration is still open in your state, get registered, find your polling place. If you're already registered, you can find out your status and find out your polling place. You can request ballots to be mailed to you, all that good stuff. Also, as always, check out Gifted Hands '08 on Instagram. Link to the website is in the bio. Get your custom items created, get your events planned. The book is filling up. So definitely holler at us. And again, we got 35 days, folks. We got work to do. Let's get busy.
So, in addition to
Mhm.
going to the Instagram and all that, you can also scan the QR code that is right down where Byron is, and you can get to Gifted Hands there as well. In addition to that, I believe there is a link in the chat as well. So, if that is something that you want, then get in there. But I do want to actually bring up Greg's comment real quick. So, Brent, you want to read that?
Yeah, I got it. Big Greg said, I made it a point to explain to my boys the error of their ways before I rendered the punishment. After the punishment was rendered, that was it. No rehashing of the incident in a way of holding the incident over their heads. I always have told my boys that I love them and still do as adults.
There we go. Just I wanted to get that out there because that's a grown man explanation of it. So I wanted to get that out there to the people as we continue to close out. And as far as closing out goes, Byron, man, what you want to tell the people?
Hey man, I just hope y'all have a successful week, successful month. You know, we on that first day of the month, man. Just hey man, we in the fourth quarter of the year, man. Let's knock it out, man. Let's get to all our goals, man. Dominate all 2024. That was the pledge. Let's do it. Fourth quarter, man. You might be down, but hey, clock is ticking, man. Let's get it, man. We Steph Curry in
Yeah.
the fourth.
Let's close this thing out well. And y'all be sure to shop Big Dogs Only.
Let's close it
As you
out.
see, we got the hoodies and we got the beanies up. Once again, you can click those in the comments, the link for it, but also you can just scan the QR code on the screen as well. So shop Big Dogs Only. Help out the big dog. Help him close his business quarter out well as well. Um, and with all that being said, hey man, like Brand said earlier, y'all be sure to go out and get registered to vote. Make sure you're registered. Now, Virginia is a unique state, and I learned this because I'm volunteering to do some poll stuff. Virginia will hook you up. We will get you registered to vote. Technically, at the polls, we can do that for you, but do not give me extra work to do because I will not
Oh,
like you.
also, let me, and Wes, on that point, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are in other states that don't know, that's what we call a provisional ballot. Now, there's nothing wrong with a provisional ballot if you wanted to get out and vote in X, but there is something stronger about registering because it's not provisional, which means they can't. Because sometimes with provisional ballots, they can toss them out. And you don't want your ballot to be invalidated because some legal head somewhere thought somebody should win an election and they invalidate your provisional ballot. If you get fully registered ahead of time, it is much more difficult for them to find a way to disenfranchise your vote. So, in addition to not giving Wesley extra work at these polls, if you got the time right now, you're listening to us today on October the 1st, 2024, you still have time to register the traditional way, get all of your things squared away, come up with an action plan. Now, I'm not discouraging you from doing provisional ballots. I'm just saying provisional ballots are the one type of ballot that court cases can get thrown out. And I'll leave you with this statement I heard from Ken Paxton, who is the Attorney General of the state of Texas. They sent out in the biggest counties down there around Houston, they sent out mailed ballots to all of the residents that were registered to vote. Ken Paxton sued the state. He is the attorney general. He sued them so they could throw out the provisional ballots. They threw out, I think it was about 2 million ballots. Ken Paxton said himself out his own mouth, and you don't believe me? Look it up on YouTube. He said, had those ballots been counted, that Donald Trump would have lost Texas in 2020. I'm here to tell you, do not, if you can help it, trust they exist, but legal challenges can toss them out. Get out there. You've got a month and some change. Register, vote.
Yeah, Virginia has a lot of options out there for you. So definitely get registered to vote, and don't hold up the poll lines on the day of election, please. Um, but with all that being said, also because the Ronte isn't here to tell you, and this is specifically for election day, don't come into the polls stinking. Take a bath, wash yourself, use a rag, use some soap, please and thank